Hey guys, so in this video you and I are going to talk about certifications and certifications, whether or not they're worth the money. So let's get into it. Let's define a certification first and foremost. There's tons of certifications available. The ones that I'm going to talk to you about are the ones that are more prominent, such as you can actually get a certification in, say, Java, C Sharp, MongoDB, like different database systems, and there's tons of certifications. You have like for ops people, there's Microsoft have their like high profile certification that are kind of holistic. They're basically an education in their software, and there's just tons and tons and tons of them. So basically the thing as far as I've found when it comes to certification, it very much depends on the type of customers you have and the type of company that you are working for. A certification is basically, if you think about it, it's just an indicator of competency. Now, there are actually more than one way, and there's several ways that companies will try to assert your competence as a developer, and it has, some of them value this, some of them don't. To me it's kind of more of a way for you to expand your CV, basically having a certification as a junior developer is valuable because it's an indicator to the person who is hiring that you know your stuff. It is not so, and it's the same thing with fancy schools. It's the same thing. It's just a brand. That's what it is. It's just an indicator of how good you are. And in my experience, as far as it goes for programmers, these things matter very little in the grand scheme of things, because the fact of the matter is that they're gonna check you anyway. Trust me, just because you have a certification does not in any way mean that you have a job over somebody who doesn't have a certification. It's just something that is, I think of it as it's a small footnote on a CV. And when people look at your CV, they are going to not necessarily look at your certifications. They're going to look at the holistic thing. Is this person, like as a recruiter, they're looking at whether or not this person seems to be a good fit for that company. And there's so much more going on to make that that thing an indicator. And if you try to think about it that way, there are so many other things you could be doing that aren't necessarily as expensive as a certification, because some of them are actually quite expensive and they are going to require you to invest a lot of time in order to take them. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't be doing it? No, I'm absolutely not saying that you shouldn't be doing it. I'm saying that if you think that getting a certification is going to give you a job, then you are kidding yourself. It's not. Unless it's something very specific, like where people basically just need that certification in order to apply for a job, because there are hard requirements for certain type of IT jobs. And now I'm talking about programming. I was actually back in the university, I was looking into taking the Java certification, and my teacher basically said, sure, you can take the Java certification, but I've been working in this industry for years and years and years, and I don't have one. So it's kind of like you can do it if you want to, but it's not necessary in any way. And the thing is that, I've also spoken to like employers, like high profile consultancies, where they give you that certification, or, if you don't have it, rather they give you the opportunity to take the certification. And from their perspective, it's useful because it's easy for them to sell you. Basically for them to sell you to a client. Because if you think of, as I said, it's just an indicator of how good you are. And from a company perspective, if you are a consultancy company, it makes a lot of sense, because the more impressive on paper your candidate or your consultant looks, the more money you're going to get for that person. That's why it's interesting to a consultancy to have with certifications, because those are considered high value education. I mean, if you have on your CV that you watched a bunch of YouTube videos on programming, that is not going to carry as much weight as a real certification. However, it will contribute to as I said, the overall indication that you are interested in what you're doing. In my personal opinion, if you have open source projects, you are passionate about what you do, and your CV reflects that you are very active in the programming community and you educate yourself through resources such as Egghead.io or YouTube or whatever. If you put these things on there, and they're fairly relevant. I mean, I'm not saying that you should put my videos as like a reference point for indicating that you are competent, because like, if I had a massive company or a brand name or something like that, then absolutely do that. But basically what you're going for is that you want to add credibility to your CV, and if that is your goal, you can do that without paying for a certification. So that's kind of my 2 cents on this. I think that I have a few of them myself, and I mean, they're great fun to take, but I've never paid for one myself, and there's been no need to like pay money to take this official certification, because it's not going to make you a better programmer. To me, it's more like it's more of a way to embellish or like add value to your CV. That's the way I look at it. And I can say from firsthand experience that it's only once so far I've ever even heard. And it wasn't even a discussion of should I get the job or should I not get the job. As I said, that was not even the topic. It was just that they kind of like it if you have certifications. And once again, that's because it makes sense for the consultancy from their perspective, because you are worth more money if your CV is impressive. But I still argue that you can have a very impressive CV and be worth a lot of money. In your CV can still be worth a lot of money without a certification. So yeah, to summarize, certifications, I don't think that you should pay for them. If you're a junior and you're uncertain if you're going to get a job or something like that, yeah, sure. If you think that it's going to add value, if you have like an employer who if you're living, maybe it's different in different regions. Maybe somewhere in the world they actually really, really care about certifications, but I've never ever sensed in any way that this is something that is going to be very significant for your ability to to get a job or something like that. And if you're taking a certification to learn, I can tell you right now, they're not going to they're very seldom going. Like, I've looked at the Java course examples for their certification. The tests are not, they're designed to test your ability to know your knowledge of Java as a language. And trust me, it's not valuable. It's not going to teach you something new. There's nothing there that is going to be, that you're not going to be able to learn at free resources or like just learning by doing. You're not going to like get some magical knowledge from taking a certification. You might get, it's like taking a driver's license. You do it once and then you forget about it over time. Trust me, your ability as a coder is not in any way tied into whether or not you have a certification. Really good programmers are good because they care about what they do and not because they have a piece of paper saying that, that they know something, because most of the time it gets very outdated very quickly. But yeah, that's my summary. Just get don't waste your money on certifications unless you know for a fact that it's very important for the position that you're applying for. That's a different story. But in general, they're not that important. Hope you have a great day.